Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. In this episode, I want to share with you one thing that all successful men have in common, and that is an athlete mindset. It's something that I thought was relative or relatable only for athletes, but I've recognized, having interviewed hundreds of men from all different areas of their life, that the ones who are really succeeding, the ones who are really leading by example, have this mindset.
The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachlan Stuart. Let's get into it.
So in this episode, I'm going to go through the triangle around athlete mindset and how it's going to help you achieve an exceptional life. So firstly, I'm going to talk through what it will allow you to do, tips on how you can achieve the athlete's mindset, and thirdly, what are those specific traits that they embody that allow them to have that. So by the end of this, you will be clear on that. I'll give you the framework. So if you are driving along, you may want to pause this one or come back to this one a bit later so you can actually start writing this down, because as we know, you can listen to as much information as possible, but if you aren't implementing it, it's going to do you no good, right? It's really important to take time to implement what you learn. And I learned that, and I was sharing a story on last week's episode how I stopped going to personal development events. Obviously, we had COVID, but after that as well, because I'd been to so many events and so many different coaching programs and listened to so many podcasts, but I hadn't really implemented a lot of the things that I was learning. So I set the goal and the intention that I wouldn't go back to another event until I had started implementing that. And what it helped me do by going through the frameworks that I had learned and the skills that I wanted to develop was I started seeing progress. And the progress gave me feedback, right, around the specific things that I needed to learn. And I think that is a very important tip. But let's dive into it. So what is an athlete's mindset? Firstly, let's define it as the mental preparedness that helps athletes or individuals train, face opponents, and let's just look at that as challenges in life, and perform at their best, which is something we all want to do. So when I speak to a lot of people who are wanting to improve their health, I believe that regardless of whether you're an athlete or you're a weekend warrior or you're someone who works in the corporate world, you should still have an athlete mindset in two ways. The second way is the way I mentioned at the beginning, but the first way is also athletes are generally the healthiest and fittest people on the planet. So if you believe you're an athlete, if you think like an athlete, you're generally going to do what they do. So when you go to eat a certain food, you'll go, well, would the most athletic version of myself do that? It'll help you decide when you need to go to sleep so your recovery is on point. And that's why I believe it's really important. But let's get into it. So firstly, what it's going to allow you to do by developing this mindset. Firstly, it's going to allow you to create rewards. It's such an important thing within a mindset and working towards creating something to have ways to reward yourself. So for example, one of your things might be getting up early. I'm a big believer in getting up early because I know that if I get up before everyone else, I can get what needs to be done before the chaos of the day, and sometimes things run away on you. So by getting up early, I have a way to reward myself. The first thing is I get to do things that I enjoy doing. So I get to have a coffee and just chill out, not be, stressed by emails or text messages, and I get that downtime. The reward I get from doing that consistently, getting up and having me time, is it allows me to be a better husband, it allows me to perform better at work, and it allows me to perform better in my training life because I get the important things done well. Okay, so find a way to reward yourself and to create rewards when you're developing that, because you know when you've got that athlete mindset, if you don't get to put to test, or if you don't get some feedback or reward for the work that you're doing, you can lose motivation, right? It might be a championship game, or playing for a final like most teams do every year. What's your final? That's what you need to think about. The second thing is establishing those milestones. So a milestone could be in 12 months, you want to earn $100,000. And way to break that down over the quarter could be you want by quarter one, you've got to have earned $25,000. Quarter two, $50,000. Quarter three, $75,000. And you create those milestones so that you know whether you're on track or whether you're not. And when you hit those, it's a good way to motivate yourself. And if you've fallen behind, it allows you to refine your process to catch up to where you needed to be. The third one is it allows you to maintain your wellness. An extremely important part. Athlete mindset understands that if you just train all day, your muscles are going to break down. You're not going to be able to perform at your best. Not only do you need to train, the most important part is the recovery. So an athlete mindset allows you to know that you can't just work all the time. You have to have the yin and yang approach. So how are you putting that into your life? Fourth, it allows you to practice consistently. Why? Well, as point three just said, it allows you to maintain wellness. So you stay on top of how your body is feeling. You're mindful of when you need to stretch, when you need to ease off a little bit. And it also helps you, I guess, put your output. One thing that I learned when I was training for CrossFit, when I first started, I was hitting all those hero wads and those hard workouts 100%, 7 days a week. And I wondered why I was getting injured and my nervous system was fried constantly, because I wasn't understanding this idea of energy balance. If you were to assume that every week you had full battery, a training week, let's use that, and every day you had X amount to consume, to spend, before you got to recharge over the weekend or whenever your training day is or your weekend, that's where you need to go, which of the things that I'm doing this week need the most of my energy, or are going to take the most of my energy, and how can I conserve it for the other things that are important to me? So an example, a lot of people in corporate burn themselves out, run themselves ragged working. Then they get home and their fuse is short, they snap at their family and their relationships grow apart, and they don't have any hobbies outside of that. So when you understand energy balance, or if you're an individual who knows you can get more energy from how you eat and recover, you can perform better at work and you can perform better in the home life and those other areas. The fifth one is it allows you to train harder. When you're recovering well, you have more energy to expend every day. So the people who believe you need to have 8 hours sleep a week, wouldn't that be good? A night, are probably a little bit more switched onto it than the individuals who are in that hustle culture where they're trying to survive off 5 hours, which is what I was trying to do. And you can get away with it for a while, but long term, and there's a lot of science around this from cognitive function, so focus, memory, mood, that is impacted by your lack of sleep, and obviously your recovery physically and mentally as well. So think about that. The better you recover, and when you have that athlete mindset to go, okay, today my output was X, I need to bring that back. And I personally use a Whoop. I think it's a great tool. I know there are Aura rings as well that can help you see your expenditure throughout the day, and it can give you a recommended recovery so that you can sort of stay on track with that, not burn yourself out. It's definitely a worthwhile tool to get on top of. So just to recap, this is what the athlete mindset allows you to do. It allows you to create rewards, establish milestones, maintain wellness, practice consistently, and train harder. Now let's go to the tips to achieve this athlete mindset. No one gets the outcomes that they want by themselves. I used to think, and there's the saying where it's like, if you want to go far, go as a team. If you want to go fast, go alone, or whatever that one is. And I used to be like, all right, I want to go fast, so I'll go alone. But you realize pretty quickly, you can only go so far alone before you need leverage. You can't be an expert in everything. You can't master everything. So that's where you need help. So an example in the home life, for example, could be the individual who knows they've got a family, they want to have a social life, but they also want to have the financial means. You could create leverage by having a double income family, so both parties are working. Secondly, what that can enable you to do is afford babysitters, afford things that you can invest into the relationship. Okay. The second way you can look at it with leverage is from a training aspect. I understand fitness and I still have a coach because I don't want to have to think about programming, and I know I need the accountability to get what I need done. So that's where you're creating leverage, and teamwork becomes important because you need to have a number of people working towards a common goal. And the first tip there, which is where I was going with that, ties into celebrating teamwork. Understanding that everyone has a role, and if they're doing their role, you've got to celebrate that, because without that, would you have been able to achieve what you needed to do? So I would encourage you, based off what you want from your life, what you have an idea of what you're working towards, what you're getting up every day to achieve, who do you need on your team? What roles do you need to play? And are people aware of that? Are you celebrating those people for helping you achieve what you want to achieve? Or are you just, expecting that they should help you? It's something to think about. Point 2 with tips to achieve is you develop routine. We are creatures of habit. If you don't believe me, think about the last time you tried to change anything and how hard it was. For the individual who decides that they want to get up early, they want to start getting or joining that 5 a.m. club. The first day you do it, I guarantee you probably hit snooze, or you want to hit snooze. And every day it becomes more and more challenging until it becomes a habit, or until it becomes part of your routine. And that's because we are creatures of habit. So if the habits that you have, or the routines that you have right now, you need to ask yourself, are they going to deliver the life that you want or the results that you want? And it's very simple. It's either a yes or a no. If it's a no, you need to change them. But what do you need to change them to? And that's where, once again, we need to start thinking about what are going to deliver the best results. This is, once again, why having a team to support you and to point out your blind spots is so helpful, because you can fast track that success. It's the reason why I'm a massive advocate for having coaches to give you that feedback. So think about the routines that you have. And once again, don't try and overhaul your whole routine. It's very hard to do that, once again, because we like change. Just choose one thing. Right? And generally choose the one thing that if you were to do that, it's going to set you up for success. So going back to the 5 a.m.er, most people want to implement morning routines and do a lot of stuff before they head out the door. But if you can't get up at the time you're suggesting you should get up, it pushes everything back. So rather than focusing on, you want to read, you want to spend time with the kids, you want to get a workout in before work, really just focus in on developing that habit of getting up at X time. Once you've got that, then you can move on to the next habit. Okay, so that was point 2, develop routine. Thirdly is honing your mental strength, right? That's going to help you develop an athlete's mindset. The Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron Jameses, even probably any top athlete that you can think of has an incredible mindset. They have incredible mental strength. When the pressure's on, they're the ones who are stepping up to take that game-winning shot. They're the ones who are taken up to take the game-winning free kick, because they understand that they can handle pressure. They've been in those situations. But the only way you can improve or hone in on your mental strength, one, is through practice, but is seeking out adversity. It's why for our academy, one of our frameworks, so we have a framework that we move men through. But point number 5, on that framework is doing something hard. And that is controlled adversity. So if you can learn to seek out controlled adversity, which if you feel it's too much, you can wind it back, but you're in control of the variables, you can start getting used to those uncomfortable situations, so that when that game-winning shot comes to you, or whatever that looks like in your life, you're prepared for it, right? You've been there, you've understood the pressure, you understand all the external variables coming through, and you know how you want to respond to that. So that's why honing in mental strength is a really important one that I think is highly underutilized in today's society. I believe a lot of people have gone soft. So looking at that controlled adversity is one. 4th, this is a no-brainer. I don't need to explain this one to you guys, but practice, practice, practice. The more you do things, the more feedback you're going to get, the better you get at that specific thing. Right? It's the reason why the best guitarists are the way they are, the best basketball, all that, because they've just had more time practicing. People don't like failure, which is why they don't practice enough. Number 5, set attainable goals. There's no point saying you're going to go, this is what I did. It wasn't attainable at the time, but it definitely got me moving. But in 2014, I set a goal to earn $1 million. I'd never run a business in my life. I was a terrible communicator. I had a lot of things working against me, but I was very, very excited and enthusiastic about making $1 million. I had set myself up for success, and I guess the people around me had, because no one said, hey, dude, have you thought about X, Y, and Z? I still went for it, but I fell very much short. So make sure you're setting these attainable goals, and how you can work out what an attainable goal is. We teach this in the academy, but just look at where you're at and where you want to get to and break that down into milestones and speak to people who have the results that you want and see what it took for them to get that and see if it fits in with your plan. Because when you decide you want to achieve or excel in something else, you have to make sacrifices in other areas of your life. And people don't consider that, which is why it creates so much conflict in other areas of their life. Point 6, take action. You got to do it. You can have this analysis by paralysis, or you can continue to get ready. But if you are not taking action, it doesn't matter. You can have the prettiest plan on paper, but you got to start doing things. So they're my top 6 tips to achieve that athletic mindset or athlete mindset. Firstly, celebrate teamwork. You're a part of something bigger than yourself. Secondly, develop routine. Thirdly, hone mental strength. Fourth, practice. Fifth, set attainable goals. Sixth, you got to take action. We're about to wrap it up, guys, so thanks for bearing with me. This last one will help you give yourself some actionable steps for that mindset traits, or some traits of those high achievers there that you can adopt as well. The first one, talk to yourself. We all do, so let's go a little bit further, but talk to yourself in an empowered manner. So how would you need to think about or talk to yourself if you were already achieving X goal? So one thing my mum taught me when I was younger, we used to practice this thing called brain gym. And I was a state and a national champion runner, and I believe how I got there, obviously, aside from the training, was mum used to make us practice this brain gym where we would visualize, or I'd visualize my race from the moment the gun went off to how I would run it. And funnily enough, I ran every race the exact same way, because when I was visualizing it, I was thinking, okay, how am I going to be feeling at this point? What would I do if someone tried to push me here? How am I going to mentally get myself through this? So then when I was running, I was like, comfortable here. I've been here. And that ties back into that tip to achieve around that honing that mental strength. You can visualize a lot of stuff. There's a lot of great data around that. So think about how you talk to yourself, and you can't control that first thought you have, but you can control the next one. So if the first thought you have isn't empowering or isn't what you need to think or how you need to talk to yourself to get that outcome, what do you need to follow that up with? This is what you need to think about, because an athlete does that. There are people who break down when they miss that shot and they beat themselves up, but there are people who go, okay, that's unfortunate. I wish I'd done better, but here's how I'm going to do better. And they are proactive about it. You need to think, are you being proactive or reactive with your life? The second part of those traits, or the second trait, is see it and be it, which is, I guess, the visualization I talked about. Thirdly is find your purpose. We can create purpose, and people talk about purpose all the time. For some people, it's getting out of a rut. For others, it's reigniting their relationship. For others, it's earning money. For others, once you achieve, I guess, some of those fundamental ones, you can then start creating a purpose bigger than yourself. As I mentioned a moment ago, my original purpose in 2014 was to earn $1 million. My purpose now is much bigger than myself, and it's more about the community and those of you who are listening to this podcast. Fourth is be gritty. You've got to have grit. You got to understand that in order to achieve anything, it's going to suck. There are going to be so many days that you don't feel like getting up because you might be facing debt. You may have a bad review. You may be injured. But it's those who get up and go again who get the results that most people want, but most people quit. Fifth is be obsessed with the process. You've got to enjoy it. It's boring. Once again, the same fundamental things have stood the test of time. You can jump on social media and hear these new ideas or concept around how to achieve something. But if you break it down, it's the same fundamental things: how you lose weight, how you make money, how you have a great relationship. They're all fundamental frameworks. And if you want those frameworks, we have them in the academy as well. And the last one, sorry, is owning it, owning your mindset, being proud of who you are and what you want to achieve ultimately. Look, think about it like this. I used to think having fun was going out and get as drunk as humanly possible. What I believe to be enjoyable now, or what is enjoyable to me now, is completely different. A complete 180. And in the beginning, I thought I was weird because I liked exercising and liked being active over what I used to enjoy. But what I recognized was that I needed to own what I enjoyed doing, because the right people will then come into your life. It doesn't matter if you like different things. Everyone's entitled to enjoy what they want to enjoy. But when you can own what you enjoy, you're setting yourself up for a better life. So just to recap the 3 key points, areas, and I gave you frameworks for those areas to achieve an athlete mindset, and a mindset that will allow you to be extremely successful. And I know a lot of CEOs and professional athletes and wealthy individuals adopt this mindset because they know it works. This is the recap. We spoke about what an athlete mindset would allow you to do. We spoke about, or I gave you some tips on how you can achieve that. And I gave you some specific traits of an athlete mindset. Okay, so just to recap, so that if you've caught this at the end and you've just pulled up and you want to write these down, here's what I would do. But we've also got this in the academy. So what it allows you to do: number 1, create rewards. Secondly, establish milestone. Thirdly, maintain wellness. Fourth, practice consistently. Fifth, train harder. How you can achieve the mindset: firstly, celebrate teamwork. Secondly, develop routine. Thirdly, hone mental strength. Fourth, practice. Fifth, set attainable and tangible goals. Sixth is take action on that. And some of the key traits are this: talk to yourself first, see it and be it. So visualization, find your purpose, right? Depending on what phase of your life you're in is going to be, I guess, whether it's more focused on you or it's bigger than yourself. Fourth is be gritty. Fifth, get obsessed with the process. And sixth, own it. So that is the framework. You can get that in the academy. I'll have that drawn up in there. So just a reminder, guys, as we are getting to the tail end of 2023, we are going to kick off 2024 with an absolute bang. So for those who have looked at our academy, you can check it out at themanthatcanproject.com. There's a whole heap of information around who it's for, how it works, and the outcomes that you can get. And there are so many testimonials from men and members of our program and how it's transforming their lives. But here's the kicker. We are doing a price increase as of January. The reason being is we want to invest more in the community, being able to put on better events, have better systems, just so we can continue improving this experience and developing this incredible community, which we have. So if you want to get in at the current rate, which is currently $200 a month, it's now going up to $295 a month as of January 2024. So you can apply in the link. But thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, do something today to be better for tomorrow. My name's Lachlan Stuart, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachie Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.